Ladies, gents, how's it going? Random Gary here once again, aka Gary Proud. I'm gonna do another Gallantry review. If you don't know why I do these, I spent 12 years in the British military. I was in a fire support team. I called in the artillery strikes, and back in 2010, I was awarded the Conspicuous Gallantry Cross, Britain's second highest award for gallantry, one below the Victoria Cross. It might give me a bit of an insight into what these people are experiencing. Been recommended this video. Can't remember who it was by, but I'll drop his name in here now. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the links. We're gonna look at Giunta, I believe his name is. I've not murdered that pronunciation. I'm really bad. While I say pronunciation, I noticed my P's were pretty bad last week, so I've got an extra thingy my bobber on my microphone to hopefully stop that from happening. But hey, enough of the waffle. Let's get into the video.
At the White House on Tuesday, a young man from Iowa, 25-year-old Staff Sergeant Sal Giunta, will become the first living soldier to earn the Medal of Honor since the Vietnam War. It's the nation's highest military award for heroism in battle, and it's given for acts of extreme bravery in the face of almost certain death. Sal Giunta earned this honor for his actions on a remote hilltop in eastern Afghanistan on the night of October 25, 2007, for repeatedly running into enemy fire to save American lives and rescue a fellow soldier from the hands of the Taliban. Tonight, you'll hear about what happened and the events leading up to that night from Sal Giunta and the men who fought with him. You'll also hear about a place known as the Korengal Valley, where the Taliban are allied with Al-Qaeda and put up such a fight that the U.S. eventually gave up on the valley and pulled out last April.
This is going to be a
When Sal Giunta was serving there at the age of just 22, it was considered one of the roughest tours of duty in Afghanistan.
I've seen some of the combat
The story will continue in a moment.
Wow. Okay.
Did you ever wake up in the morning and think, what the hell am I doing here?
Woke up every morning thinking, what the hell am I doing here?
Really?
No, we know what we're doing there, but what the hell are we doing here?
In the Korengal Valley.
In the Korengal Valley.
Already I love his honesty. It was times when you were at your least active that you questioned the reasons why. And then once you were going out, you were putting one foot in front of the other, and you were seeing some of the horrible things that the Taliban were doing. There was no question the reason why you're out there. It's pretty emotive, and it's pretty easy to justify what you're doing.
Was there anywhere in the Korengal Valley that you could have felt safe?
Maybe in your dreams.
For Sal Giunta and the men of the 173rd Airborne Brigade, this is what home was like for 15 months. The valley itself is not very big, just 6 miles long and a mile across.
Go! Come on, come on, come on!
But it was so dangerous here for U.S. soldiers that it became known to Americans as the Valley of Death.
Nice bit of white phosphorus there. I'm sure that's being used either to blind enemy positions or to screen friendly movement, because that's the only way you're allowed to use it.
And when Battle Company arrived here, they could see how hard it had been on the soldiers they were replacing.
Some guys talking to themselves, some guys wouldn't even come up to us. They wanted nothing to do with us. You know, none of us understood why. And it wasn't long after that we figured out why they didn't want to talk to us.
You feel bad on handover.
That valley just took every
It's too
ounce of life
dangerous
out of you.
sometimes.
26-year-old Staff Sergeant Eric Gallardo was Sal Giunta's squad leader, and he was back in Afghanistan on another tour of duty when we met up with him, along with their ammo bearer, Sergeant Michael Burns, and their machine gunner, Sergeant Brett Perry.
That 15 months in the Korengal Valley.
Wait a minute, you have sergeants who have dedicated roles as ammo bearers. I didn't realize that. If you can break it down for me, explain what the roles and responsibilities across like a fighting section or a fighting squad, as you would say. Yeah, our platoon sergeants are the ground hammers, are the ones controlling the NCOs, and They deal with casualty extraction, with resupply, but not just like a single dedicated role like an ammo bear. Let me know.
It was hell on earth.
This was the view from their tiny base looking out into the valley, enemy territory for as far as they could see.
There's somebody right out there trying to kill you every day. They wake up every day and they want to kill you.
They weren't just hitting us on patrol. They were hitting us where we lived. So there was guys, you know, who refused to go to the bathroom during the day because you'd have to go out in the open. They wouldn't risk it. They'd wait till night, hold it until the dark.
They were far from their base when Giunta earned the Medal of Honor, deep inside the Taliban stronghold in the valley on a major offensive.
2-1 got hit, break.
The soldiers believe this attack on the third day was carried out by the same group of Taliban fighters who would later ambush Giunta and his men.
Dude, I need you to get to the LZ with those 2 wounded in action.
It was filmed by Elizabeth Rubin on assignment for the New York Times Magazine.
I called forward a Warhawk 3 element to pick up our KAA.
One of their most respected soldiers, Staff Sergeant Larry Rugel, was killed when his position was overrun.
And that was just a big blow to us, all of us, I think. And it was it felt like a momentum shift.
As the soldiers listened to the Taliban on their radios, they now sounded more confident, and what they said was chilling.
They were saying, we want a body. Let's get a body.
We want a body?
Yeah. They wanted to see if they could get an American body this time.
Sure enough, on the last night of the operation, October 25th, they were ambushed. It happened just as they were heading back to base. Sergeant Joshua Brennan was in the lead. Behind him was Specialist Franklin Eckroad. Sergeant Gallardo and Giunta followed next.
Everything happened. The world happened. And that next step. Tracers, bullets, RPGs, explosions, wings, zings, dings, snaps, pops, cracks.
Based on diagrams we obtained from the U.S. military, this is what happened. At least a dozen Taliban fighters executed an L-shaped ambush.
I'll say L-shaped ambush. This is never fucking good. Yeah, there's just so many people there in the killing zone. What did they do? Did they engage the enemy? Did they peel off back the way they come? Did they drop to their rear into the low ground? Yeah. Wow. This is a really shitty situation by a competent enemy fighting force. They've already overrun one friendly position, and competent and confident deadly mix.
Firing at the soldiers from 2 sides simultaneously, pinning down the entire unit in an instant.
If we could have done it, we would have done it to them. It was perfectly done.
Did you know instantly that they were right on you?
You can see the muzzle flashes. They're there. I mean, less of a distance than you can throw a baseball. They were inside that.
And the whole thing with an L-shaped ambush as well is it just shows how competent a fighting force this is. They have to watch the point men and the follow-up men in the patrol moving through their arcs. Now, if they were a bucksheet 10 bob flipping fighter, they would have pulled triggers the second that they seen people close to them. The fact that they've got that kind of that discipline to allow the patrol to pass right in to the killing zone of the ambush. Horrific.
That gap.
The 2 men at the front were down and cut off from the rest of their squad by heavy fire.
And I started sprinting their way. I got about 5-6 feet, and that's when I just had RPGs hit everywhere.
You were completely pinned down?
I was done. I was pinned. And so, I just started turning at them and shooting. Shooting, backpedaling.
And right when he started coming back, I watched his head kind of hit.
I fell. While I'm falling is when I got shot in the helmet. I remember thinking, did I just get shot in the helmet? Did that just happen?
So you had to get him out of that spot.
I was just going to grab him and just pull him back.
Before I know it, Giunta is coming into the open, and he's pulling me out of the open.
Did you think, thank God he's here?
I was on my back like a turtle.
And if Giunta hadn't come to you?
I'd have been stuck there, just laying there for them to shoot at.
As he was dragging Eric Gallardo to cover, Sal Giunta was hit twice. His body armor saved him.
I got hit on the lower part of my front vest.
Of your bulletproof vest?
I don't know if it's bulletproof, but it definitely can stop one or two.
Did you feel that?
I felt it. There's adrenaline and everything going, but it displaced the weight across my whole chest. Couldn't ask for anything better than that, because a bullet just hit me and I felt air.
One of my pals was shot in the back, and the plate managed to stop it. It went through his day sack, so that's like your backpack for Americans, what we carry our radios in. And the round was lodged in the plate, and it must have traveled quite a distance because it was still quite complete. It hadn't flattened or anything. And sadly, he had to kind of release that plate to the company that made them, which is kind of fair. But the whole thing was that they then brought my whole kind of group down to their factory. They set out a plate and they shot it with 7.62, and they then presented him with it. So he's got a plate that kind of signifies that this company saved his life, and it was quite cool what they did. Just a shame they took the proper one off him. How you doing, Nige?
Giunta, Gallardo, and two of their gunners charged forward. They were trying to reach their two wounded men pinned down at the front. You're running into a wall of bullets.
Together. So that's what we did, and we threw our first grenades, and we ran and we shot, and we did it again, and we got closer, and then Ekrod was there.
Specialist Ekrod had been shot 4 times. Gallardo stopped to help him.
He was just hysterical. You know, he kept telling us, I see them, I saw them, they have him, they have who? You know?
You didn't know?
We didn't know.
Could you hear what Ekrod was saying?
He said that he was shot, and, I mean, Gallardo was there, it was taken care of.
Sergeant Gallardo told us that Ekrod was hysterical, not because he was wounded, that he said he just kept screaming, they've got him.
Wow. Such a genuine person here, riding the roller coaster of emotion. And still, the humility is it's just humbling, isn't it? I haven't said I haven't heard him say I once. I've heard him say we ran forward, we did this. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let this play out so we can all share it together.
And he didn't know what Ekrod meant at that moment.
No, I've never heard that. It makes it easier sometimes not knowing everything.
What Sal Giunta didn't know at the time was that the Taliban already had 22-year-old Sergeant Joshua Brennan, a tough, easygoing soldier who had earned a Bronze Star and had been named Soldier of the Year on his first deployment to Afghanistan. This is Brennan with Giunta just a few days before the ambush. There was no one on the squad he was closer to, and it was Giunta who would save him from dying in enemy hands. In the midst of the ambush, he ran head-on into the Taliban guns, through their fighting positions, and into a clearing where Taliban fighters were carrying Joshua Brennan away.
I saw 3 guys, and I saw 2 of them carrying one guy, and one guy had his arms and one guy had his legs, and they were dragging him. And
did you see their faces?
I saw their hats and their beards, and I saw their guns. I saw their guns were slung on their back because their hands were full.
What did you see when you ran up towards Brennan and Giunta was there? What did you actually see?
Giunta firing, Giunta hitting. I saw the one body falling. I saw Brennan's body being dropped, and I saw the other shadow running, and Giunta was still shooting.
I shot one guy, and he falls, and the other guy was already running away the whole time because I was just running and shooting, just closing the gap. And the one guy dropped, and I started going for the other guy, and by that time I was at Brennan.
Did you know the moment when you grabbed him, you knew he was badly wounded? You could see instantly.
I just started assessing, and then he started struggling breathing. And he's complaining that there's something in his mouth, and it's part of his mouth that's in his mouth.
He knew we were there. He was drifting out of consciousness, but he knew it was us now.
Did he say anything about being taken?
No, he wanted to make sure we were there with him.
The ambush had lasted just 3 minutes. Sergeant Gallardo still had to get his squad back to base, hoping they wouldn't get hit again. They made it back safely, but later that night, Joshua Brennan died in surgery.
I remember just hearing that and just walking off. And just finding a corner and just lost it. I couldn't believe it. I needed to see how Giunta was doing.
How was Giunta doing?
I've seen him better.
Did he get the significance of what he'd done?
No, he didn't think anything of it. When you look at it, yeah, it was a big deal. He just prevented the enemy from having that huge victory and us having to go in an even deeper part of the Korengal Valley to where nobody has ever been and try and find an American soldier.
You might.
That bit is so key, and whenever we look at the likes of Chapman Medal of Honor, whenever we look at the likes of Operation Red Wings, at any point where you're committing troops to try to recover a person or multiple people, you are so vulnerable. You are moving into their territory. It's not pre-planned. It's not as deliberate. It's quite reactive, and you lose a lot of people. So what Giunta did here today was he saved a lot of lives, and it's not easy to draw that direct link, but there's absolutely no doubt about it. Absolutely none.
Might never have found him.
Yeah, that's something I don't really like to think about. The last thing Brennan ever saw was us. He saw us fighting for him. The first face he saw was Giunta coming up to his side. We fought for him, and he's home with his family now because of that.
I have never given everything. Sergeant Joshua Brennan gave everything.
So did Specialist Hugo Mendoza, the team's medic, who was killed in the first moments of the ambush. Specialist Franklin Eckroad survived his wounds, and Sergeant Eric Gallardo was awarded the Silver Star for his actions that night. Sal Giunta, who's now serving at a U.S. base in Italy, is not yet able to reconcile their losses with becoming an American hero.
I'm not at peace with that at all. And coming and talking about it and people wanting to shake my hand because of it, it hurts me because it's not what I want. And to be with so many people doing so much stuff and then to be singled out and put forward. I mean, everyone did something. Okay, someone wrote this about this, and then someone else approved it, and the story was told, and then handshakes were made, and then sooner or later, I'm talking to the President of the United States. I don't see how that happened.
That is, yeah, it really resonates with me. People come up and they say, well done, congratulations, you must be so proud. And they forget about how the award came about. And yeah, so many people done incredible stuff on the day where I got my award. One guy in particular, I'll just call him Al. Absolute ground hammer. Did an incredible job, exposed himself to the same danger I did, yet didn't get anything. It's a flawed system. Gallantry awards, they are not representative of somebody's capability. They just represent the opportunity. That is it. They represent the opportunity. And it's really weird what happens next. The people around you, they decide who will get written up. They don't want to write lots of people up. They focus on one person, and that's where it goes through. It's a flawed system. I wish the people outside of the military would understand that. And I think context is so important. If you don't know the situation that led to the award, don't say congratulations. Don't say things like, that's amazing. Know the story and say something more appropriate, like, I'm sorry for your loss. Much more appropriate in this instance.
Like it or not, Sal Giunta is now part of an elite fraternity. There are only 86 Medal of Honor recipients alive today. For the rest of his life, he'll enjoy certain privileges, like a guaranteed seat at presidential inaugurations. And he'll be honored every year at events like this. But it's something he may never be comfortable with. What kind of soldier are you?
I'm average. I'm mediocre.
You're mediocre?
Yeah. This is only one moment. I mean, I don't think that I did anything that anyone else that I was with wouldn't have done. I was in the position to do it. That was what needed to be done, so that's what I did.
Opportunity.
This is the single greatest honor that the military can bestow on its own. And it comes right from the President of the United States himself. That's pretty good for a mediocre soldier.
Think how good the great soldiers are.
Go to
What a boyo. Superb. Thank you for that recommendation. Thank you for linking the video. If you're wondering why I'm dressed like an absolute idiot, I'm off to play some golf. I think I need to after that. Resonated with me on so many different levels. Guys, put a comment below. What did you think? I hope you're enjoying the content. And wow, yeah. I wish it was a little bit later. I would go and have a little whiskey. I'll catch you in a little bit and see you very soon. Have a good one. Wow.